Jim Jones sat in the courtroom, jaw clenched, staring at the floor like he already knew his fate. The cameras were banned inside, but that didn't stop the world from watching. Word had already spread. Chrissy Lampkin had been brought in for questioning, and Cameron, once his closest ally, was now being whispered about as the man who lit the match. What no one saw coming was that this wasn't just another rapper getting caught up in a case. This was personal. This was Harlem history crumbling right in front of our eyes. Just a few years ago, Dipset was a brotherhood. Jim Jones and Cameron stood side by side, from the gritty days on Lenox Avenue to the bright lights of international tours. Chrissy wasn't just a reality star. She was family. She was the one who held Jim down through the storms, both the fame and the street drama. But the deeper you dig, the more this story starts to feel like a betrayal wrapped in secrets, revenge, and broken codes. Somewhere along the way, money turned into motives, and loyalty became a liability. Rumors started weeks before the sentencing. Whispers in industry circles said there was a federal probe going on. Nobody wanted to believe Jim Jones would go down like this. But things turned fast when certain sealed documents were leaked, pages that pointed to a deeper operation involving wiretaps, movement tracking, and names that had been redacted, except one. Chrissy Lampkin. That's when things really started heating up. People began to question, was she just collateral damage, or had someone set her up to take the fall? The streets of Harlem were buzzing, but not with music, with betrayal. According to several insiders, Cameron had knowledge about a certain financial transaction that took place behind the scenes of a reality TV project, something that could link Chrissy to suspicious movement of funds. He never said it out loud, but he hinted at it on a live stream, and once that clip went viral, the feds seemed to have a new direction. That's when people began saying Cameron might have been the one who opened the door on Jim, accidentally or otherwise. Now here's the twist. Cameron and Jim had just started repairing their friendship after years of beef. They had reunited on stage, laughed together in interviews. Fans were celebrating the return of Dipset. So how did it all fall apart again? One source says it wasn't intentional. That Cameron was talking to a journalist he thought he could trust, and during a casual convo, he mentioned the name of an offshore account linked to a company Chrissy had been involved with. That info made its way up the food chain. Once the feds got wind, they followed the trail. And suddenly, Chrissy wasn't just a love interest on VH1. She was a person of interest in a federal case. By the time Jim's trial started, everything had changed. His lawyers tried to paint him as an outsider, a guy caught up in the drama, without full knowledge of the financial dealings taking place. But prosecutors weren't buying it. They presented text messages, bank records, and surveillance that connected him to multiple key players. Most of the evidence wasn't enough for a long-term sentence, but it was enough to put him behind bars, and it damaged his reputation in a way that might never recover. Back in court, Jim refused to speak when the judge asked if he had any last words. His silence spoke louder than any apology. Meanwhile, Chrissy was sitting a few rows back, looking like someone who hadn't slept in days. Some say she was crying. Others say she didn't shed a tear. But what everyone agrees on is that when she turned and left the courtroom, she didn't look back. And Cameron? He wasn't there at all. That absence sparked a whole new wave of speculation. On social media, people were quick to blame him. Some accused him of dry snitching. Others defended him, saying he never meant to expose anyone and that he was just caught in the crossfire. But the damage was done. Cam's name was now tied to the collapse of a friendship that had shaped New York hip-hop for over 2 decades. Behind the scenes, there's more going on than most people realize. A former Dipset affiliate, who asked not to be named, said that the rift had been building for years. That even though Jim and Cam smiled in front of the cameras, there was tension under the surface. Business deals that went bad, disagreements over ownership of music, even personal drama involving other women who had been around the crew. The loyalty wasn't as solid as it once seemed. And when the feds come knocking, cracks become craters. There are even darker theories floating around. Some people believe that the entire case was orchestrated, not by Cam, but by people above him, people who wanted to shut down Jim's growing influence in the independent rap game. He was building something, a new label, a film project, Even talks of a documentary series about Harlem. All of that is on pause now. And some folks think that Cam might have unknowingly helped those same people pull the plug just by saying too much to the wrong person. As for Chrissy, her name is being dragged through the mud. Even though no formal charges were filed against her, her reputation has taken a hit. Reality TV networks are reportedly backing away. Endorsements have gone quiet, and fans who once saw her as the ride-or-die girlfriend are now wondering if there's more to the story. She hasn't spoken publicly since the sentencing, and her team is refusing to comment. Meanwhile, Jim's fans are rallying around him. They say he's being scapegoated, that the system is trying to make an example out of another black man who came from the streets and made it big. But there are others, especially in Harlem, who feel differently. They say this is what happens when you mix loyalty with business, when you keep secrets for too long, and when people start thinking they're untouchable. The drama isn't over. Insiders claim more indictments could be coming. That Jim's sentence is just the beginning, not the end. And that other members of the circle could soon find themselves facing questions they're not ready to answer. If that happens, the Cameron connection will be revisited with even more heat. Because once the feds smell blood, they don't stop. This case is bigger than one rapper going to jail. It's about how easily loyalty can turn into liability, about how fame doesn't protect you from fallout, and about how one word, spoken at the wrong time, can burn down everything you built. Whether Cameron meant to expose Chrissy or not, the result is the same. Jim is behind bars, Chrissy is under fire, and Dipset's legacy is cracked wide open. For now, Harlem watches in silence. The streets that raised these men are whispering again, not with applause, but with suspicion. Everyone's wondering, who's next? And more importantly, who can you trust when the empire starts to fall? Would you like a thumbnail concept for this article too?